What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Are We Gonna See Another Super Team Get Upset by a European Dude? As always, I am your host, Zach Cronin, and today we are going to be talking about the 2024 NBA Finals. Series kicks off this Thursday between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. It is the tale of two wildly different paths to the NBA Finals. As we know, the Celtics have pretty much walked through the flowers to get to the finals, whereas Dallas is playing the basketball version of Elden Ring. There's been much debate about these paths that these respective teams have taken. For one, I don't necessarily buy into it. There are some folks who are like, oh, the Celtics haven't really been tested, so this is going to be a very difficult jump for them to make against the Dallas Mavericks. And perhaps that is true, but I don't really think it is that much of a detriment. On the other side, Dallas has already gone up against Minnesota. They've already gone up against Oklahoma City. They've already played elite competition. Therefore, they are already ramped up. They are already locked in, so to say. I don't really feel it falls either much in either direction because ultimately, these are the two best teams in the NBA. Each of them has an all NBA first teamer, the talent, the coaching. They're going to play well against each other. That's just how it goes. Disclaimer: as a resident of the state of New York, I am legally bound to be as hateful as possible towards any franchise associated with Massachusetts, associated with Boston. It is part of my civic duty to be a Boston sports hater. However, there are some nice things that I am going to say about Boston in this video, and in order to not have the state police knocking down my door, I am going to include negative qualifiers such as unfortunately before I get into anything positive about Boston. With all of that said, as you can see by the title, this is the Boston Celtics finals to lose. I think that Boston is the better team. I think that they are going to be NBA champions this summer. I do not think they're going to sweep Dallas. I do not think it is going to be a 5-game series. I think 6 or 7 games is more likely, but the talent that Boston has, the versatility they have with their first 6 players, it is unmatched by anybody in basketball. And we've seen that throughout these playoffs. They've dominated because they are so dominant. I'd probably be a little bit more skeptical if Miami pushed them to 7 games, if they got pushed to 7 games by Cleveland, by Indiana post Tyrese Halliburton. If they had gotten pushed to 6 or 7, I would have felt a little more apprehensive about that. But I don't. And unfortunately, again, I think the Boston Celtics are going to be NBA champions. Additionally, when you account for the fact that it is now confirmed that Kristaps Porzingis will be healthy for the finals. How healthy? We don't know. He's missed a considerable amount of time dealing with that calf strain. I believe that his rest was prolonged because Boston didn't need him to make it out of the Eastern Conference. If he played, even if he's like 75 or 80% of the way, they would have just gotten through the playoffs a little bit faster, and I don't think that it was worth a potential setback. Vegas also appears to agree with me. The Celtics are, I don't know if they're heavy favorites, but they are certainly favorited. ESPN's BPI has the Celtics at a 66.8% chance to win these finals. When it comes down to any finals matchup, the best players on these teams are going to cancel each other out. And more often than not, it is the team that has more depth, more playmakers, and more versatility that winds up winning the series. There have been instances where that has not been the case. I think of 2011, the Dallas Mavericks were not favorited against Miami, and they pulled it out largely because LeBron James underperformed to the caliber of player that he was. But regardless, they still won. I'm also thinking of 2016 when LeBron and Kyrie pulled off that seemingly impossible 3-1 comeback against the Golden State Warriors. And it is for reasons like that why I'm not entirely counting Dallas out. Luka and Kyrie, along with or going up against Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they are all going to neutralize each other. However, the difference lies in guys 3, 4, 5, and 6 for Boston: Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford. The next 4 For Boston or for Dallas, pardon me, is Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Derek Jones Jr. in any particular order. And that group for the Celtics is better than that group for Dallas. You look at Holiday and Derek White. They are all defensive guys who can also give you 20 points apiece on offense. They are floor spacers. Drew Holiday is an elite facilitator, a spectacular on-ball defender, as I just mentioned. You couple that with Porzingis and Al Horford on the back end of the defense. You effectively have two defensive anchors, two stretch fives, and Porzingis, who is not only a stretch five, but can also play in the post. That's not to say that Lively and Gafford are not going to be thorny for Boston. They have a lot of athleticism. They have a ton of length. Porzingis coming back is even more important now because Al Horford, I think, was going to struggle defending the back line against the length and the athleticism that Gafford and Lively have. Additionally, you look at Derek Jones Jr., PJ Washington. Their shooting is much needed for Dallas, as inconsistent as PJ Washington has been. Additionally, their defensive presence is going to be huge as well because they are going to be the ones defending Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now we have to shift to a world in which I see Dallas winning their second NBA championship in the last 15 years. We're going to use the 2016 Cavaliers as the example for us. In 2016, the Cavs, on paper, were greatly outmatched by Golden State. Greatest regular season team of all time, 3 Hall of Famers. LeBron and Kyrie were great, yes, but it takes a complete team to win the NBA Finals. I think the Cavs could have won in 2015 if they were fully healthy, but they weren't. And that's how the Warriors ignited this dynasty that only recently came to an end. In order for the inferior team to pull off a colossal upset, the 2 stars have to be significantly better than the other 2 stars that they're going up against. We saw this with LeBron and with Kyrie. In that series, LeBron averaged pretty much 30 points, 11 boards, and 9 assists while being remarkable on defense as well. For Kyrie, he was at 27 points and just shy of 4 assists. You compare that to Golden State's 2 best players, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Steph was at 22.6 points, and Klay was at 19.6. Draymond was bringing up through at 16.5, which is offensive production that is which is extraordinary by his standards. But that is the kind of production that Luka and Kai are going to have to give to knock off this Celtics team. Fortunately for Dallas, Luka and Kai are probably the 2 best guys to exceed these expectations, to exceed any production that they had recorded coming into this series. It's not unlikely for Luka to average 35 in a playoff series. It's not unlikely for Kyrie to average 28 or 30 on 50, 40, 90 percentages. Luka, on the negative side, may not be able to equal LeBron's defensive production, which I don't think should be understated in that finals. However, he is a generational offensive talent, and the defense that he has behind him is enough to mask whatever deficiencies he may have. With that said, Luka defensively in these playoffs has been spectacular. He may not be an all-defensive caliber player, but when the situation is called for it, he has come up with timely deflections, timely pass breakups, just impacting the game when maybe he's shooting 7 of 22, which he has been prone to do throughout these playoffs. Additionally, Kyrie, when he wants to be, can play some of the most elite backcourt defense in the league. He has great hands. He's got great instincts. He's got great anticipation. His evolution as a defensive player is nothing short of incredible. And when he's locked in, he is a real nuisance. I'm not mincing words here. Luka and Kyrie, to win these finals, are going to have to play the best basketball of their careers. As I already said, they need to be significantly better than Tatum and Brown, so that way their supporting cast doesn't have to overextend themselves doing things that they may or may not be able to do. Mathematically, think of it like if Tatum and Brown are giving Boston 60 combined points per night, Luka and Kai have to be probably around 75 to give to put Dallas on equal footing. But again, these guys are capable of doing that. With all that said, unfortunately, I believe that this is going to be a Boston Celtics championship, which will ignite the summer of Jason Tatum. NBA championship potentially, Supermax potentially, potential gold medal in the Paris Olympics. I will be rooting for Jason Tatum in the Paris Olympics. I want to see the United States do something good. I want to see the Stars and Stripes up there representing something that is not war crimes. As for these finals, make no mistake about it, I am rooting against the Boston Celtics. I, however, would be disingenuous if I didn't say what I truly believed, and that is that they are better than Dallas, only by a little bit, mind you. A little bit. But they are still the better team with more depth, a little bit more talent out of the more talent beyond Tatum and Brown. I really do hope that this is a good series. I'm confident that it's going to be a good series, and I look forward to it. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Thank you guys so very much for coming to hang out with me today. As always, everything I'm associated with is down in the description box below. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Drop a comment as well. It really helps out with the algorithm. If you do any of those three things, you'll become my new favorite person. And with that, I will see y'all in the next one.